Back to people looking for work-life balance, because I know that's a word that keeps getting shown and presented, and it's a very annoying word for me. We're sitting downstairs, we're having cigars in the whirlpool, and I asked you, PBD, how do you run two companies as a full-time CEO for both? And I think you had a very interesting answer. I think a lot of viewers of Seven Figure Squad, would like to hear, because a lot of people are thinking, well, if I'm gonna start a business on a part-time basis, I got a full-time job, and I got a part-time business. I mean, when do I stop working?
Yeah, so I work 2 full-time schedules is what I do. And the best way to figure that part out is always ask people that work with somebody. Like for me to learn about how you are, is I gotta talk to your coordinator, I gotta talk to your assistant, I gotta talk to your family, I gotta talk to your kids, I gotta talk to your wife, to really learn at what pace you go, right? Okay. To really learn what pace, I go. You gotta go see what the office looks like. You gotta see the scheduling. You gotta see Monday through Saturday, through Sunday. You gotta see that scheduling. I run 2 companies. It's not because I don't recommend people doing that. Yeah. It's gotta be an obsession thing. For me, it's an obsession thing. I love both of them. They're both kind of intertwined, yet at the same time separated. You have to be extremely disciplined on both to run them. I don't recommend people doing it too early. My suggestion is to drag out your 100% obsession into one thing for as long as possible, because nothing's gonna do better than 100% into one thing. And then gradually go from 90-10 to 80-20 to 70-30. But up until the very end, put all your energy and everything you got into one thing. Andrew Carnegie once said the following thing. He said, put all your eggs in one basket. Just make sure nobody can touch it and they don't fall. So his idea wasn't never put all your eggs in one basket. Right. His idea was put it all in the same basket and go all in this one thing, right? Yep. That's more my philosophy than it is about, the other way of running them.
So PB, the reality is, even if you're going from a full-time career job to starting a part-time business, there requires a lot of heavy lifting and bending, because I can't imagine at the beginning of PHP and or VT, there was a lot of early success on, and what kept you going? What was like, okay, we're onto something, we keep pursuing this?
Yeah, like when you walk into a room and nobody yet respects you, or nobody validates you, you're just no one's even talking to you in the room, right? But deep down inside, you're like, how come none of you guys talk to me? Do you realize how hard I'm gonna work to get the respect? Like, I'm gonna bust, I belong in this room. If you really fully have that mindset of I belong in this room, it's a very frustrating phase you're going to go through, is because you have to earn the right for others to say you belong in this room. Until you do that, nobody cares that you're a great speaker, you've read all these books. Nobody cares. The only thing that room cares about is results. If you haven't had the results, nobody cares. So the 4 things, remember, I was a guy that said, I'm going to outwork everybody. I'm going to outwork every one of my competitors. It ain't enough. Then I said, I'm going to out-improve everybody, reading all the books. It ain't enough. Then I said, I'm going to out-strategize, because I would go against a couple of the competitors that had better strategies than me. I said, I'm going to out-strategize. This comes later. This takes a while to come. So when you're newer, you don't yet have all the strategies, right? Like when Kobe was on Jordan and he's guarding Jordan, he says, hey, Jordan, what do you do with the footwork with this? He says, just use the hips and field defense based on the hips. And Kobe's like, wow, I never thought about that before. That's a strategy. That you're not going to get that in the first year of playing basketball. That comes. And then obviously, last but not least, is who can last the longest. And that is the most annoying, intimidating thing about competition, because we're not really going to know who the players are for 2 decades. Who the hell has patience for 2 decades? Yeah. Very few people. So yeah, you eventually, if you're willing to outwork, out-improve, out-strategize, outlast, eventually you're going to get the credit you deserve.